sold in the last...
Derek, does that seem like, if Navan is a place that suits you, does that sound like good value?
It appears good value when you compare it to where the market was 2 years ago. But as I said, get it back to this 20-year thing. Property, you don't look at the market in terms of where it was in 2006, 2007. You look at the market in the last 20 years. And, the average home 10 years ago was less than half that. So it's still...
just a quick one now. Looking at some of the deals and financing that are available. 2-year fixed, new business, APR 3.6. On 200 grand, you'd be paying 1,000 a month. All right? Now, what would you get for 200 grand in this market? Would you get something...
A one bed.
Yeah, we've given you a couple of examples there, Pat, yeah?
All right, I'm just
Obviously,
wondering...
you could buy your house in Navan, you could buy your one-bedroom apartment in Carrington.
You get a one bed in Castle Forbes there next to the new convention centre.
Yeah, but you won't get 2 beds?
No.
Not yet?
You will next year.
No, well, you will, sorry, no, that actually isn't correct.
We've got some people in the audience here. I want to try and tease this one out because we've got a couple of people with negative equity here. All right, Philippa, what's your experience?
Well, I bought my apartment a year ago and I thought I was getting a good deal. There was like 85 grand knocked off the price, so I thought, oh, here's my chance to get on a property.
What did it start at?
It started at, it was 305 and I got it for 220. I thought it was a bargain. I thought I was never going to get on the property ladder, so I was delighted. I've got a one-bed apartment and I recently heard that a 2-bed in the same block has been sold for 150,000.
So where does that leave you in negative equity?
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to find out. I can only imagine.
So you're sick as a parrot?
I'm not sick as a parrot. I wouldn't be as sick as a parrot if I didn't have a fixed term mortgage, and that's really what my main issue is that with every various levy that's being thrown at us lately, it's starting to be a struggle to keep up their payments.
Your income is being squeezed,
yeah,
and you're stuck with the fixed mortgage.
Absolutely, and I think the banks have been bailed out, so the government should put pressure on them to help people out like me so that we can get out of our fixed term rates without incurring huge penalties and be able to have a variable rate.
All right. Who else is Roderick? You're in negative equity, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I paid $285 last July for my place. It was 300. Was the asking price, so got them down 15. Was kind of happy with myself at the time. My direct neighbour, is for sale now for 240, but it hasn't sold yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if
so
it's
could be 60 grand down.
Could be a good bit.
And you're up against new stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas with yours, maybe people might have a stamp duty if they're not first-time buyers, stamp duty to add to that.
Exactly.
And also, even though you're a very tidy fellow, it won't be pristine. They have a new thing they can buy.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and just like Philip was saying, I fixed for. I'm kind of a bit cautious, so I fixed for 3 years. So obviously, I'm not getting the benefit of the reductions in interest rates now.
What do you say to these guys, David? I mean, your colleagues in the selling business sold to these people.
It's a very unfortunate and very difficult part of the market, and obviously I'd sympathise with anybody who's in negative equity. It's not an easy position, but unfortunately, as an agent, I can only report on the market. I obviously, would hope, and I think in time, obviously, we will see it come back. Now, it will be quite a while before it does come back.
The higher the price, the higher your commission. Yeah,
that is correct, Pat.
By the way, I have to say, in fairness to David, if he was selling your house, you'd want him to get the highest price for you. So that's just the game they're in. So it works both ways. What about you, Owen? You are thinking of buying.
Actually, that's not true. I'm actually a renter, and I'm just thinking. Like, I'm 26. I've been renting in Dublin for about 8 years now. And I just think we need to look at permanent renting like they do on the continent or in America.
But you have good money after bad, all that. So I bet you've done the sums, haven't you?
Not really, no, I haven't. No, because I don't think about it. It's not really...
You're going to rent forever?
Possibly, yeah. And I'm comfortable with that.
You see, in continental Europe, there are rent controls, and you can be there for life. Absolutely. And big insurance companies or retirement funds, pension funds own big blocks. They're not after the fast. It's not the guy with 2 flats in Rathmines,
It seems like this debate is like we're trying to get back to the status quo of property speculation, and obviously people need to live in houses and it's an important investment. But, to encourage that kind of, alternative thinking, I think is important as well, through things like rent control agreements.
Yeah, but you're going to stay a renter, you think?
Yes, but I could buy, it's
All right, Hugh, what about you?
Evening, Pat. Well, I'd just like to contradict David on what the reality of the market is. 2 years ago, Pat, I had mortgage approval for a house of just over 350,000 euros. I've a modest wage, and it just didn't feel right. The papers, the property supplements, all the the programs in property, even our own government was saying the worst that might happen will be a levelling out. But the reality is, Pat, that same house is now in the market for 180,000 euros in the last 2 weeks. Well, Pat...
Can you afford to buy it at this price now, comfortably?
Pat, being able to afford to buy and being able to afford to repay are two different things. With the amount of wage cuts that we've had in the last, since the last budget, and young people in my situation, Pat, we're just too worried about our ability to repay and being forced into negative equity. And it's just, as I was saying, the way the property market is falling, it just doesn't make sense to me.
You feel there's still a way to go, do you, in your bones?
Well, look, Pat, David said there, and I must apologise for David there sitting on his own, but the only honest thing that I've heard from the gentleman in the estate agents or the government in the last 2 years is David saying 5 minutes ago, I really don't know. And I think that's the truth of the situation in the property market at the moment.
Now, there's someone here who bought a house. Who bought a house recently? Yeah? Yes, you bought a house. When did you buy?
Just recently.
And house, flat, apartment, what?
House.
A house. Do you mind telling us what you paid?
265.
All right. And why did you decide to jump at this stage?
Well, I was looking to buy, and the prices had come down. I got a good bargain, so I took it.
What do you think you would have paid a couple of years ago for the same?
Probably over 400 for the same house.
All right. So you figured this is a good time for you to get into the market. All right, with a lot of mixed views here, and I'm kind of intrigued about this because one of the things that everyone will say is, in about 3 years' time, people will look back to a point, whatever that point might be, and say, I wish I had bought then. So our difficulty tonight is to figure out when is then. When is then? Is it a year's time? Is it
at least 2 years?
You say at least 2 years.
But just to clarify, what I did say, and you're certainly correct, I don't know. Obviously, nobody knows the future. But certainly, based on my opinion, I certainly think we actually have hit. And I think it's probably very difficult because Derek obviously talks about he feels there's more to go. But obviously, it very much depends on where you start and where it is now. I'm just telling you, based on my experience on the ground, meeting people,